my swim time. Gonna bust up your behind. This is my swim time. Gonna mess up your whole mind. This is my swim time. Gonna bust up your behind. This is my swim time. Gonna mess up your whole mind.
Welcome to Work the Left Side. I'm hyper hyped to announce tonight's guest. He's a very cool guy with lots of friends. It is the one and the only Mr. Ian Skinner.
Question: What's your favorite vampire movie? Let's just start off right off the bat. I'm asking the hard hitting questions, okay? Because I feel like there's a lot of good ones out there, but I feel like there's too many to like whittle down like the top.
Right, I don't do ones. I'm all about the top fives.
Okay, well let's whittle it down to top three.
Three, okay. Lost Boys, Blade,
sick,
and Near Dark.
Oh, okay, nice, yeah. Respectfully, great choices.
Thank you.
Van Helsing, Underworld. Hey, if Kate Beckinsale's in it, it's
good.
Yeah. I don't need a third. There you go. Nah. I mean, here's the thing. Who's Dracula to you? Is it Gary Oldman or is it Christopher Lee?
Or
is
it's
it
definitely
Mr.
not the dude from Prison Break. It's definitely not the dude from Prison Break. It's not Dominic Purcell.
Although, what a cliffhanger! Hey, it's just like what? Like the guy gets on the phone at the end. He's like, start the project, and then nothing.
What
was it? What was it? We'll never know.
We'll never know. But for me, it's Gary Oldman. I'm a Gary Oldman kind of a Dracula kind of guy. It's just because I love Gary Oldman, though. I don't think the dude's really ever made a bad film, so he gets lots and lots of bonus points for me.
Real.
And the fact that his sister is Mo Slater in EastEnders is extra cool as well.
Who's your favorite Gary Oldman role? Like
Drexel.
Ah, okay.
If you've seen the film, are you one of the few people that I actually know that has actually seen that film?
Yeah.
True Romance.
Big film nut. Big film nut. But for some reason, Mason Verger is my Gary Oldman, and I have no idea why.
Ooh.
I think it's because he just fit into the role so well, and you can't tell it's Gary Oldman. Which is the best Gary Oldman? It's like Schrodinger's Gary Oldman. If you can tell it's Gary Oldman, is it Gary Oldman?
That's what I mean. That's why I like him as Drexel so much. You know, he's just this badass pimp. It's just smooth. He's very, very cool. But yeah, True Romance is my favorite film of all time. So he's always going to be that's Gary Oldman for me. He's Drexel.
Anyway, I T-boned the conversation. may you continue.
No, dude, I'm more than happy. Again, anybody who knows me, we start talking films, I'm quite happy. But yeah, obviously, we are here to talk about wrestling for a majority of the episode. We will sidebar back into lots of other things, I'm sure.
The majority.
Well, just a little bit. Then we'll talk about it a little bit. I've got the boxes to tick. Obviously, you need to talk about.
Tajiri and Bubba Ray Dudley dressed as Santa. The first time I ever watched wrestling, and for some reason, that's what stuck with me. And it turns out it was an actual match. It turns out it wasn't a fever dream. It was really hard to validate that when I first started, but thanks to YouTube, I know.
It's there. It wasn't, like you said, it wasn't just some random night out memories, and it was like, it actually happened. That was a moment in wrestling history, and it is there. There's obviously, it's left its mark. So, but yeah, I'm going to talk about it because it's fresh in my mind. Obviously, just saw you at the weekend having an awesome 4-man tag, 4-on-4. A little bit of Santa Claus, Team Santa. Mate, you were representing St. Nick.
Yeah, big. Listen, we saved Christmas, okay? They were going to shut off the lights at Huddersfield if it wasn't for me, Scotty, Chris, and I was nearly called him his old name there, and then Arthur Scurro. Pirate. What a mishmash. You got Cool Guy and Lots of Friends. You got the Grebo Grappler. You got God, Greek God, perhaps, now? Greek God of War and Pirate versus Cowboy, Twink Death Club, Dave Atlas. Here's the thing, David Atlas sounds like a pirate name, so I feel like him and Arthur could have gotten on great. And then our man, Big Texas. Well, he's not Big Texas. He's from Newfoundland, but
the Big Furby.
Yeah,
the Big Furby,
the Big Grinch.
And then obviously Dara, who is secretly adorable, but we won't tell anyone.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, that match was it just looked like it was loads of fun. And obviously you've had a banging year at Tidal. Dude, you are so over the fans. Like, I still remember when your music, the fans were just demanding your music be played randomly again. And the sound guy had no choice but just to randomly play your song.
Do you know how frightening that was for me when I didn't have any context and I was just sitting backstage and I'm just getting that they're playing your music. I'm like, why? I'm like, I'm getting my head checked because I'm sure I just had my shit rocked. I'm getting my head checked. It's like they're playing your music. I'm like, oh no. And I think I was like seconds before coming out the curtain to kind of like go, what's going on? But then music stopped. I'm like, right, okay. I guess my music is played without me. And then I feel sorry for Jay Steins. I think it's just like circumstantial that he came out with blonde hair and a coat with glasses right after me. God damn, he's great. I don't know if you saw what happened at OTT Contenders, but it was a Danny Cross J versus JJ Gale. And then Straight Out Compton starts playing and Jay Steins comes out and it's the battle of the Jays. But there wasn't unfortunately he wasn't part of the equation. He got taken out. He wasn't officially part of the match. I feel that there's definitely a point there where if I ever run a show, I'm definitely doing a 2 out of 3 falls match with Jay Joshua, Jason Joshua, Joshua James, JJ Gale, JJ Webb, Jay Steins, Jay from OTT, and it's first person to 3 falls gets their full name back.
It kind of reminds me of First Pursuit. I think they had a fatal 4-way at First Pursuit, and it was Justice Guy, I think it was, against Joe Wade, against Jay Vertigo, against Joe Kessler. It was the Battle of the Jays. Same situation.
It was Jet Marshall, Joey Sky.
That's it. Sorry,
Jay Vertigo. Yeah,
that's it. Not Joe Wade. Sorry, Jet Marshall, not Joe Wade.
Yeah, because Joe Wade had Vusic in that singles banger.
Yeah. But yeah, it seems there's way too many Jays out there, man. It's just too many people.
Too many good Leons as well. All right, we need to calm down on this, okay? Goddamn, Leon Cage is good.
Limit the Leon. Should be 1 Leon per thing. That's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were already having a bit of a tumultuous relationship between Leon Slater and Liam Slater, but I guess they're mates now. So, hey, it's
how long is it gonna last,
love and war,
It never lasts in the wrestling world. I'm sure something will rock the boat and turmoil will be afoot.
Or not. Or imagine nothing happens and everyone just lives happily ever after. Smooth sailing. That's the thing people least expect. Nothing to happen.
That's true. That is very true.
It's probably anticlimactic for people who are on the edge of their seats and then they're oh, suddenly the edge of the seat is the new seat.
That's it. It just leaves you there waiting. You're like, oh.
I'm writing that down. The edge of the seat is the new seats. I think that's. I think that's something I can take away. That's mine. I'm stealing that. The edge.
That is wisdom. Yeah. But yeah, obviously, that 4A the thing at the huge props as well. Like I said, the whole thing at Tidal was the music. Obviously, I've seen you reference it before, shouting out Shotty. The dude did you good with that music.
Yeah, Shotty Heart, like it was it's an odd story because I feel like we had a different beat. Then Shotty made the beat, and I knew a friend of mine that I was in a band with back in the day, Elliot Stradlin. He was rapping. Just when he started rapping, like his stuff went on Spotify. As soon as he went on Spotify, I'm like, yes, I love this. It's like it's right up my alley, and I knew that it's like, can you lay some bars down over this track? And I feel like it's that perfect synergy, that symbiosis of just like these two things melded together. Because I feel that, if it was just the beat, I'm not sure. If it was just the lyrics on something else, I'm not sure. But I think it was just like, it was perfect when it hit. And Shotty wasn't sold on it at first. I'm sure when the first verse came in, he's like, I'm not feeling it. Like Shotty, he's a music guy. But he has his own taste. But I was like confident. I'm like, cool. Once we get the second verse in, we know. And when it got to that, my name Jeff, I'm like, we're cooking. We're cooking with gas. And there's a lot of references in it as well. But I'm like, I really, it's maybe one for off camera because I feel like people can take it apart however they want. But it's almost telling of me as a character and as a person, and just referential media that I enjoy as well. If you know, you know.
That's the best stuff though. Like, so say if you can kind of pull it apart, if you can kind of pick up little bits here and there, it's kind of like, okay, that's cool. And it's just like, yeah, if you know, it makes it even more awesome. If you don't know, it's still enjoyable. It's still a hell of a theme tune, and the fans love it and get behind it. And yeah,
my favorite part about it is I feel that, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but I feel like it's got that Big Show quality in which the Big Show sung the Big Show's theme. Like, he's definitely in that booth going, well, even though it's not the Big Show, but it is the Big Show.
Yeah. And that could be you doing all that sort of stuff. Yeah, like it just encapsulates you. You know what I mean? As soon as you come out, it kind of, that's always a good thing in wrestling, when the music and the actual wrestler kind of, like, again, it's symbiotic. You just merge it. You associate one with the other very easily. And I think in British wrestling as well, it's very easy sometimes not to be able to pick up or recognize everybody's music sometimes. Sometimes it can feel very generic, but when that hits, no mistake, there's no second guessing yourself, straight away. Right, yeah, Ian Skinner's coming out.
Is that a massive cat or is that a dog?
That would be a cat, a massive cat.
Damn. Okay, so is it perspective or is that cat huge?
Oh, man,
sorry, listen, audio listeners, fuck yous. You're gonna have to just like double tap on the YouTube video, maybe like 10-15 seconds. That cat is massive. Like,
he's actually
no, go on.
I was just say he's actually just like a midget panther. He's not a cat; he's a midget panther.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah, just to annoy him. He's just the thing is that ironically, he's the softest cat I've ever known in my life. He's such a freaking wuss. He's the only cat I've ever, you can literally stroke his belly. You can do whatever you want, and he's like, yeah, it's fine. Just
indoor or outdoor?
Indoor.
Well, yeah, of course he's going to be a little bit like. Listen, he doesn't know the streets, okay?
He's not tough.
Like, I've met cats that I wouldn't go down dark alleys with, like his thing. Edinburgh used to have foxes on the streets, and I was more concerned about seeing stray cats than I was. Well, maybe it wasn't stray cats, but just cats on the street were more vicious than the foxes. Foxes were lovely. They're just dogs with cat DNA, pretty much. But that's how I read it.
Oh, just a random question then as well, obviously, because I know you've obviously mentioned Edinburgh. I know you started up, up north, but you're obviously kind of Yorkshire-based sort of now. And obviously, when I've spoken to people before, the wrestling scene in Scotland, man, that's freaking awesome. It's intense. It's like, I know anybody that comes from there has got so much pride, in the people that have come beforehand, as the scene is now. ICW, was a pillar of the UK wrestling community for years and years and years. It still is. And obviously, you've had the pleasure of working there, kind of thing. But yeah, what kind of pulled you down south?
It was being evicted by my landlord at the time, and then just like circumstances fell into place that I could like move down to Yorkshire. And I feel that like maybe it was the right move, because I think I was considering it at the time as well, and moving in with my partner. There was a lot of kind of like questions at play at the time, and it was very much just like a dive in the deep end and see if we can swim. And I think I was very lucky and very fortunate. I think maybe like I've been lucky and fortunate in a lot of ways in regards to circumstance, but I feel like I've been lucky and very fortunate in the way of just having SovPro be able to like project my profile and open up doors to network with a lot of other people down here, like getting down to True Grit a couple of times before I'd even moved down. Like just being in touch with a lot of people to get around places, training places, so on and so forth. But yeah, at the end of the day, I was evicted by my landlord, and I was able to, like a cat, like a massive cat, walking in the background, land on my feet.
Just strut your way down. Because that's the thing as well, obviously, like so, I'll just quickly kind of go back to it. But yeah, the whole sense of the pride, obviously you've worked up north, I love the Scottish crowd. I think those, everybody up there is just freaking mental. It seems to be Scotland and Newcastle seem to be of a similar kind of, just crazy mindset for me when it comes to the fans. Yeah, I suppose it's kind of like, did you find it much sort of, did it take much to adapt when you came down here? Or is it
I think it's interesting. Just I feel like fans are conditioned to enjoy different things in different areas. Like when I was like down training in London a couple times there, and just like seeing the shows that operate around London, it's interesting just how they respond to things in comparison to like how Scotland works. So my prime example is like shows like WrestleForce. Like in no way, in no right mind would you have guys like Connor Mills and Michael Loku, who are like, guys who are absolutely killing it now. I think they did a match in 2020 or 2021 that was just, it was them doing them. Like they were just like doing their craft. And even the fact that there was kids in the audience, they were sucked into the product. But like Scotland has a very, very much a different mindset. Even like Newcastle is like, I'd say even like West Coast to East Coast wrestling fans in Scotland, very different. And then East Coast down to Newcastle, very different. Like there's all these like different bubbles and areas. It's very much like, I can't remember what it's not Turing test. That's like a graph of some form. But it's like demographics and TV demographics, like ratings. Like there's like different things who pop for different things. Different age ranges will pop for different things. It's so interesting. Like going from the top of the country down, and for somewhere that's so small, it's weird to have such different territories, and it just makes it like harkens back to the territory days. If you watch like some old like Memphis wrestling, Tennessee wrestling versus New York versus LA, it's like, despite the fact how homogenized wrestling is right now, maybe gentrified, some would say, it's crazy that you can still have small packages and small different areas that will like enjoy these things more and these things more.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of I do refer to like sort of say Newcastle, Scotland, like Manchester, obviously down south. As small as England is, it sounds weird saying it, but I do reference like the territories quite a lot sometimes when I'm talking about it, because there is that different vibe depending on where you're going. Obviously, I try and watch a lot of stuff. I don't watch much stuff from down south. I focus more, let's say, northwest, northeast, like Yorkshire. That's my general area of consumption. But even so, across those three, it's some kind of like, you can tell the difference. I can tell when I'm watching a show in Newcastle compared to like True Grit, or I can tell I'm watching SovPro as opposed to main event wrestling kind of thing. Not just because of the accents, but the actual in-ring action. There's just little niches that are just different, and it's like, okay, that's cool. But I like stuff like that because it makes it feel different. It's not all the same.
Yeah, it's funny to see essentially just people in different environments and different responses. The prime example there is like Ian Skinner wrestling in Huddersfield versus Ian Skinner wrestling in Leeds. Like or Ian Skinner wrestling in Manchester, it's like such a weird dichotomy. But a lot of the time it's just what the fans want. You kind of give them what you want, but you kind of, I mean, the way that I think about it is you kind of like, here's the food. You can enjoy it if you want, or you can enjoy it in a different way. You can eat it with a knife and fork. You can eat it with your hands. You can eat it with those little things from Red Dwarf where you have to like telepathically bring it to you.
Telekinetic chopsticks.
Yeah, chopsticks. Yeah, exactly. Legion.
Dude, I can't believe you just referenced Red Dwarf as well. Jesus wept. I expect you to turn up on Mark Andrews' podcast at some point. Mark Adams' podcast at some point.
Yeah. No, honestly, I think I listened to. I think I because I don't know, because I've spoken with Mark so many times. I can't remember if it's like a story that happened or if it was what I've made it to be by like speaking it into existence. But I believe I listened to the podcast before I knew like Mark and like been to a show, because I think I was like I went on a Red Dwarf binge when I was working from home, because you could just like put it on the side and just like binge through an episode on Netflix. But then I had to go on Amazon Prime to actually get like series, I think it's like 9 and 10. So I'm a completionist. Obviously, I wanted to make sure that I got, they're not the best series, but they are. But then like 9 onwards is all on Amazon Prime. So I had to buy each episode and like each series there. But I was like, oh man, I was so Red Dwarf pilled. Okay, I was blue beetle. Is it blue beetle? It's Starbug, and I think it's blue beetle as well in series 2. But I was so Starbug pilled that I just had to like, you know, engage in other media. And I'm sure I listened to their podcast before like I understood that they were involved in wrestling. I'm like, it's mental.
That's it, man. It's like it's the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of thing. You can do this and then this, and you're like, it's all associated, and people knowing other people.
It's funny you say that. I was literally just watching an episode of Kill Tony right there, and it was the comedian Cam Patterson. He's incredible, by the way. His minutes are so good. He's the guy who's like, yo, I'm not thick, all right, but I just kind of like rocks. I just like him in my pocket. He did this bit where he's talking about like he speaks to Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan's very close with Donald Trump, but he also speaks to crackheads on the street, and he's like, these crackheads don't know I'm 2 phone calls away from the president of the United States, which is the craziest variation of 6 degrees of separation I've ever heard.
It's just, man, it's crazy. But like, so just to rewind it back to what you said about Ian Skinner wrestling in different places and people taking it, you know, because that's the thing, you know, I've seen you wrestle elsewhere, I've seen you wrestle at Tidal, and you're still just you're Ian Skinner. But yeah, the Tidal fans have kind of taken you to, you know, to their heart. You know, you've not really done anything different, but mate, you're like the, you know, John Cena like Uber face. I mean,
like potentially, I wouldn't put myself on such a pedestal. I enjoy that they enjoy me coming out. I was very, frightened isn't the word, right? But the first time that I was gonna come out and do my thing, I was very concerned that I'm like, I knew what my role was for that show. And I'm like, I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. But I got out there, and all I had to do was just not go to my usual tendencies. Maybe that's the phrasing of it. But there was a cheer, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay, we're fine. We're in it. We're locked in. We're in the moment, in the grip. Let's go.
We're done. But then obviously on the flip side, like I said as well, you know, I've seen you at True Grits. Apologies for bringing it up, but you know, I saw you at the last True Grit show against Lou Nixon, and the fans were very, very happy that you got knocked out very quickly.
Listen, okay. Now, okay, so in a legitimate sporting contest, all right, who had the fastest knockout before UFC, like pre-UFC? You had Jose Aldo. Now, Jose Aldo, who did he also get knocked out by? Oh, actually, probably not a good example of who he got knocked out by very quick. It'd be great if I had another example of someone who was very notorious in UFC. But I think you get the gist. it's very easy to deliver knockouts, but it's very easy to knock out also. It's legitimate sport at the end of the day. I was trying to play a chess match, okay? I was trying to play a chess match. I just thought we were doing wrestling. I didn't know we were doing what game are we playing, okay? Like a waist lock, and you're gonna just like palm strike me in the chin, okay? And another thing about being knocked out is, it's a millimeters difference between something that just rocks you a little bit and something that knocks you out. It just, if you pinpoint right on the jaw, under the chin, that's your lights out. There are many times that in my first match, actually the opening match of the Pure Grit League, my match with Liam Slater, that Liam Slater, he was proper out cold. Did the ref call it off? No. So I think that's on referee and management. We need some VAR to have a look back at that match, because if I'm getting knocked out that quickly and getting covered up already, then what about these other flash knockouts? Answer me that, huh?
That's it. You know what? We'll start some of it on Twitter. We'll get a social media movement going for a VAR of some of the earlier matches to try and get you some points re-added. But
I'm not
talking of that anyway.
So, aliens or Alien?
Oh damn! It depends what kind of genre of film you want to watch. If you want a horror, obviously Alien. If you want an action film, Aliens.
But how do you rank them?
Damn, dude. Well, for me, if we're talking Aliens, it's got to be the director's cut.
Exactly.
Right. Nearly 99.9% perfect film.
What's your point one?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. And hopefully, I don't think there ever will be a perfect film, because I don't think, obviously you can never. It's like in anything, you never want to achieve perfection, because where do you go from there? So you there should always be that little bit, even if it's just a smidgen of a margin. There's always something that can be improved upon. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but yeah, Aliens, the director's cut, is as near as a perfect film as you can get from me, as a perfect action film as you can get.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'd say I'd rank it the same, but I think for me, it's probably because Aliens was my first Alien film. That's. And it's very much like Starship Troopers, which is my number one film of all time.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, that's cool. Again, very underrated. I remember I went to the cinema to watch that. I managed to get like a review screening, snuck in, and I was just like, mate, on the big screen, it blew my mind.
You want me to ruin this entire interview? I was 2 years old if you'd seen it at the cinema. I was 2 years old then.
Dude, I'm just going to do this now.
I saw that film when I was way too young, but goddamn did it stick with me.
Yeah. Quick sidebar. Liverpool convention in May, I believe it is. They've already announced Casper Van Dien and Gina Mayer for the Liverpool.
Hell yeah.
So just to let you know, they're going to be in Liverpool in Mayish time.
Well, I might have to get on the burner, because it's my number one, and I don't think it can be topped. I think it still holds up to this day.
Oh yeah.
Goddamn, can I quote it to death? It is. It's just it's with me. It's right there next to Hocus Pocus. Like two films of a kind. Let's just say, right? Starship Troopers, Hocus Pocus, Austin Powers Goldmember.
That's it, dude. I was going to say that, but I want to put it back to Starship Troopers, because I'm comfortable talking about that. The thing is with that, same as with Aliens, it's the characters, it's the cast. Like I say, it's the quotability. It's any film that's quotable will always be more memorable than a lot of other stuff, kind of thing, regardless. But like I say, in Aliens, Bill Paxton, freaking awesome. Lance Henriksen, Michael Biehn, man. Michael Biehn was, the dude was like, he's the cool bean, not just the Mr. Bean.
How dare you talk about Russian superstar Mr. Bean like that? Okay.
But and then obviously in Starship Troopers, you got Jake. You got Jake.
Jake Busey, Jake Busey, and his teeth, Special
Yes.
sidebar. Jake Busey, you could punch him in the face, you'd still punch him in the teeth. You know.
And Doogie Howser before he became cool again with How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. MPH as he's when did he do you not think he looks a bit like he's dressed like one. He's I don't know if you saw my my TikTok at the time, because I had, the more you watch it, the more you kind of like open up like little things and little theories. I also had this main thing that I want to show someone Starship Troopers, but cut out the propaganda and the first like 5 minutes of Klendafu and just start it straight from high school Johnny Rico drawing like Carmen. Yes.
Yeah.
Carmen. What's her face? Denise Richards.
Drawing
Denise Richards' face.
Yeah.
Just like start from there and see how people take that film. I'm sure they'll take it the same way, but I'm a bug truther, okay? I believe that the asteroid was an inside job, because there's no way that the bugs specifically fired an asteroid into space that was then hit by a not a mobile infantry ship, but oh damn, I can't remember what the fleet, the mobile infantry fleet, hit by a ship which then breaks its kind of like trajectory and then it lands on Earth. That's like, and then all the propaganda, because again the film is a propaganda piece. I'm a bug truther. I believe that it's like Vietnam. They're just invading by virtue of military hardware. It's a military industrial complex, much like the book says, where they're like, okay, let's get a bunch of money. Let's like get all the young people into like citizenship. They're not getting an easy road out. They're going to war. We're going to spend money and we will fight and we will win. It's afraid.
Either that or it's a Dave Lister trick shot. You know, when he's playing.
Oh, yeah. I'm playing pools with planets. Listen,
play for and
listen,
got.
I've seen him play this game all night, every night, and not one time does he hit any of those balls into those holes.
What was it? I can't remember. Because once you get him on the table, you can never get him off again. Yeah. Chanzinzo Lister or something like that.
Shinzano Bianco. Yeah.
That's it. Shinzano Bianco Lister.
White hole?
A white hole? What's a white hole?
So what is it?
Don't.
I don't know what it is. No one does, but I'm guessing it's a white hole. A white hole, yes. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. A black hole spews time and matter out of the universe. A black hole sucks time and matter out of the universe. A white hole spews it back in. So that thing's spewing time back into the universe. So what is it? oh, yes. Come on. 5 points for people. Let's go. Biden hates this guy. Putin's trying to triangulate my location as we speak. I'm just obviously
I mentioned the Lunix. I'm going to pull it back up now because I know you were responsible for, in DJ King's words, the infamous match of the year. As far as last I heard, yourself and Jackie Boy had an absolute
Knudson,
yeah. And
man, here's the thing: do I do the thing, or do I just cut it down to brass tacks? How about yes, I want to have that match again, because I even though I won, I'm not happy with it. I want it again, and I want it at a bigger scale, because I believe we can do that. Give me the infamous title, eh? Okay, I was representing SovPro and we cemented Infamous on the map, but I was representing another company. How about you let me represent your company, DJ King? Huh?
Ooh. Ian Skinner versus Isaac North. What was there?
No, listen, okay, I don't want to hire an exorcist. They're too expensive, okay? I'll have whoever's after Isaac North, okay? Whoever's after. Yeah. I don't get out of here, ghost.
Obviously talking about that match, I believe as well, I saw recently, I see that many sort of match graphics, I apologize, I kind of merge them all in, but I'm pretty certain I saw one where it was Act 2 versus Ian Skinner and a partner to be announced.
Oh yeah. So okay, so Jack Knudson's salty, of course he is. Ben Harlan didn't have many nice things to say about me after the match as well, okay? And they've like DJ King think he's like, oh, well, you think you can take him on as a singles? Oh, well, guess what? You got them both. Oh no! Oh, not me, not this guy. Cool guy, lots of friends. Oh, so I'm looking for a tag team partner. However, it's my secret to keep, and it's my secret to have. So I'm not revealing anything. There's no exclusives on this one. However, I would love to hear. Let's go top 3. Who's your top 3 picks as Ian Skinner's mystery partner?
Oh, I'm going to shout out because I saw it. I saw the chemistry at Second Pursuit. I'm going to shout out the Quinn, Jake Quinn. If he randomly turns up, I'll always endorse that dude. He's awesome. He is a winner, not a wiener. Another partner.
Mad that we kissed. To no pop. Which I'm very upset about. Okay, that was friendship right there in that moment. We kissed, and no one reacted. So you guys should boo yourselves.
I think we were lost in the moment, mate. That's the problem. That's what it was.
I think we were lost in the moment as well. There. I think everyone watching around the ring was lost in the moment and got a little bit distracted, and forgot to do things.
Oh man, I'm thinking. I'm just thinking of people I would like to sort of see go up against Act 2 with yourself. I think Jet Marshall would be an awesome show.
As much as I think that would be fun, I think it's not happening. We don't get on. Hey, maybe one day. But hey, and again, if he sees this, I'm not calling him out. I'm not I don't want to run the fade. Okay. I'm just saying, because again, I think he will say the same thing, that he's like, this isn't happening. But he will say he doesn't want it to happen, but he also doesn't want me to say why it's not happening as well. So the less said, the better. Jet
Kemper.
Oh.
You and Kemper against Act 2. Imagine that.
Listen, okay, a lot of people like Ian Skinner plus tall guy, so could be a thing.
That's it. That's the one. That's the budget for me. Or I don't know. Just the thing is, though, man, because obviously now you kind of you're walking through the Pursuit doors. There's a few people you could kind of talk to, maybe speak to, offer him some free or some crazy ball hair product in exchange.
Perhaps that maybe, but I believe that everyone will be shocked when I announce it, because I'll be announcing it first and foremost. Okay, I am not letting the match graphic go out without some skinsy intervention.
Right, I've got to bring this up. I wanted to talk about this. Obviously,
so Batman and Robin is my favorite film. I understand. Listen, I know you're going to bring it up. Everyone's like, oh, it's a bad film, okay, but it's my film, okay. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, yes. What killed the dinosaurs?
Mr. Freeze.
The Ice
Age.
Okay. How could you? How could you? I put you. I teed you up right there, and you went hot.
I slipped it.
Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy, Chris O'Donnell, Alicia Silverstone, George Clooney. He's my Batman. Okay.
I really want to still like you, dude.
Great. Yo, when that exotic version of Poison Ivy plays and she's dressed up as a big monkey. What is this, Monkey Monday?
I was fuming at the end of Flash when Clooney turned up and he got out of the car, and I was like,
that was a great bait and switch. Honestly, I popped huge. I did not see it in the cinema. I waited 2 years after it come out, because Ezra Miller killed those people or something. So I wasn't ready to give my money to the cinema. I was also busy.
But Michael Keaton, I was legitimately so torn when that film came out. I was like, well, I waited until it came on Prime, but I got it on a discount. But yeah, Michael Keaton, Miller. But I did want to mention the video packages that you do, man. Like sort of say, I've been hyping you up for I'm just saying, there's a handful of people for me that kind of get social media. They get how to use it. They get how to, use it to your advantage. You've got this platform that's free. You can reach, so many people. And yeah, you're one of the guys that you just get it. And these video packages that you do, mate, they're just awesome. I'm not even gonna, sugarcoat it. It's just, yeah. I love them.
I mean, I'm just chronically online, and I think that's it's a positive to some, but it's a detriment to the others. But yeah, I think I feel that I can't really accept compliments on them, because for me, I just enjoy them for the most part. I enjoy making them. So a lot of it is, if I enjoy it, it's in there. And you can see that. I think it's like, for my most recent one for Bleeding Gums was we had the first one, which was fine, and I had a bit of a laugh with it. But then the second one was the one that I really just kind of oh yeah, this is an idea, and I recorded it the same day that I saw the response. I don't usually like call response video promos, but I thought I just knew that cool. I've got an idea. I'm gonna capitalize on it. Yeah, I like making them, and I'm glad that other people enjoy them as well. Even though I'm sure there's some things, and I feel like it's what I want to give to the audience, is the feeling of what? Oh, I want a question mark that's easily kind of looked over, and then the second time you watch it, and you're like, no, I still don't get what it reminds me of. There's the story of this guy from Canada, who's Jacques Zagotier. I read this read this what was it? It's not the Encyclopedia Dramatica, but it was I can't remember. It's this old annual that Jacques de Gaultier, and I was reading on to the story, and there was just in his youth, when he was maybe 14, 15, 16, he was a poet and a playwright, and he was writing all these things. He was almost compared to Shakespeare at the in his youth, 14 to 16. Obviously, playwright, it was years after Shakespeare, but as he was writing and putting out these plays, everyone was kind of on board with him. But he never got a play to stage. I think everyone really appreciated his works in the book form, but he never got to stage. And I actually met after all these years, I say 30 years later, I actually met him at SeaWorld. He was at the Shamu exhibit, and I recognized him because I'd kept tabs on him, and I saw him, and he was what's it? It was this it was a little young dolphin child. I don't know what they're called, but he was feeding this sea animal, and I'm hey man, you really inspired me from where your beginnings were, but I was kind of miffed, because I'm what? But you never made it to stage. You had all this talent, all this ability, but you never really put things into action. You never pushed it forward to the next level there. And he's well, hey, listen, at least I served a youthful purpose.
Dude,
I wanted to do that for me. I wanted to do that gag just for me. And anyone who gets it, but that one's just for me. Youthful purpose, what he was in the story. Okay, new choice. What were we saying? Oh yeah, Halo Reach. Probably the best one, for the simple fact it was the Star Wars Rogue One of Halo games, or the other in the inverse round, because at the end of the day, you are just fighting against insurmountable odds, and it just keeps continuing. There's obstacles in place, the numbers dwindle, and it's that hero's journey. But You know, you get to the end, and unfortunately, it doesn't go the way it does. But you did serve a purpose. You did save a reach.
This is my time. This is my Batman and Robin moment where I'm going to say I've never played a Halo game because I'm not.
Wow.
I've never had an Xbox. I've always been a PlayStation guy. So
you must have liked that. What was it called? Haze? Was it the oh, this is the Halo killer. Kill zone. Like
I've got very sort of limited time, so I'm very picky about what I play. I generally sort of play the Arkham games or the Spider-Man games when they start coming out, WWE games, and obviously I'm still playing Tony Hawk after that got re-released several years ago as remastered. I'm still playing Tony Hawk's, so I don't play. It's quality, not quantity for me, you know, when it comes to certain games. But yeah, the Arkham games are my be-all and end-all, really, or the Spider-Man games now as well.
For sure. I'm very upset that I bought the Suicide Squad game. I was baited because I'm like, God, man, it's part of the universe. But was it a disappointment when it was just like we got to the end and it's like, and now it's just a live service game where you just grind and grind and grind. It's like, brilliant. That's what I want to do in my free time once I'm done with work. Chores.
I'm not doing it in real life. I'm going to do it on a computer game. I got burnt with Gotham Knights, and I was like, I'm not even touching Suicide. Gotham Knights burnt the crap out of me. I was like, not having it. I then went and played Guardians of the Galaxy instead. That was a much better game. That was a sleeper game for me. That came out of nowhere. I was expecting nothing, and it was just normally Marvel games suck, except for Spider-Man. But yeah, Guardians was such a good game. If you've never played it, check it out. It's an awesome soundtrack as well, which you would expect from a Guardians game.
Of course.
But we've talked sort of Batman, George Clooney, Batman and Robin. I'm getting the feeling you're more of you've thrown questions at me. Are you a Marvel or a DC kind of guy, or are you kind of like, do you appreciate both, or do you have loyalties to either?
Yeah, I'm slapdash in a bit. I probably have loyalties to DC by virtue of my Nightwing tattoo.
Nice. Dick Grayson. Nice.
But yeah, I feel like I was like Batman was my jam back in the day. But I feel like it was because DC had more of a bigger film presence, and like just like those were the films and cartoons, like the Batman animated series. Like that was my childhood. That's what we had on VHS. On top of Red Dwarf, like we had Red Dwarf on VHS, which is why I'm so clued in on it. But yeah, that was my childhood. So I'm loyal to. I say it's more Batman than it is DC, despite like DC is good, but then it's only like recently, and it's like Blade was the pinnacle of that, the jumping off point for Marvel cinema, because then even like Spider-Man wasn't like a Marvel Studios thing. That was like still Sony who like bolstered that. But like pre 2001, yeah, it was DC all for me. And like, yeah, I really enjoyed the like Endgame saga, like the Avengers saga. That was incredible to watch. I remember, but in regards to how many films did I kind of like see on repeat, even in the cinemas, my two most like rewatched films at the cinema on the big screen, you're looking at The Batman and Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad.
First, wow, okay.
No, the second one. Yeah.
Sorry. So I was like, I'll take Batman and Robin, but if you're going to hype up the first Suicide Squad film, I was literally about to be like...
I'm interested in seeing, what was it, the David Ayer cut? I think that's the thing around Suicide Squad, because there was like two cuts of the film, and like one of them tested better with audiences, because it's like this weird mishmash of like reshoots that are kind of like in this Guardians of the Galaxy comedy style, but then also this like intense, serious kind of like story underneath, but you get both in the film, and it's just like a weird tonal dissonance, you know. But the Suicide Squad, James Gunn knows how to do, like I don't know how to like group and like meshing like comedy with action as well, and brutality. Like James Gunn was the writer for Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. another great group film. But it's not as comedy, but goddamn is the Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead good.
Yeah. Yes. And again, going back to James Gunn, though, I love his earlier stuff. Like Super is one of my favorite films. Again, not many people I know ever have heard of it, but
Shut Up, Crime.
But it's got all the James Gunn trademarks. I see Nathan Fillion turns up. I think Brooker as a cameo. It's just Kevin Bacon as a bad guy. It's just graphic. It's kick-ass without being mainstream, because they both came out at the same time.
Kick-ass was sad. I'm trying to think what there was one film that I'm like, damn, that was a James Gunn. Oh man, what was it? He was the writer. Scooby-Doo, yeah. So one of his first writing credits was the Scooby-Doo films, which again is another group, comedy, action with suspense, but everyone gets their little points. It's much like an 8-man elimination tag match. Everyone deserves their little points to demonstrate their value and their story. And ultimately, we have a nice little climax where everything comes together, hopefully, ideally.
Somebody pulls the mask off. It was Tim Strange all along. Yeah, and he would have got away with it.
If it weren't for you, if it weren't for Mr. Bean, if it wasn't for Mr. Bean, I mean, probably a better example. I only use the 8-man elimination because it's so recent, but I'd probably say maybe the Crown Cup. If we're going to talk SovPro, is probably one of those perfect things, because that was my start at SovPro. I was a bit part character in an 8-man eliminator, but I believe that everyone got their moment to demonstrate their value and complete their stories.
SovPro, though, I mean, obviously I've not mentioned it yet, but I told you I was going to drop it in at some point. But you are the work the left side breakout star of the year 2023. And I think a big part of that was the SovPro fan base. But they've got such a community there. They've got such a loyal I mean, SovPro, the fans on the social medias, the SovPro nearly beat North, in the kind of poll and I think SovPro been around for just over a year at that point.
Yeah, it was because they started Jan 2022, but it was October 2022.
Yeah,
there was their first show.
Yeah, they literally, obviously ran the polls in December, so 14 months later after their debut. They've got a fan base there, and I just love talking about SovPro when I can. There's certain promotions that I like to hype up or put a spotlight on if I can, and what those guys did it was just unbelievable in such a short period of time. I know DJ Kid is a must. He sort of goes on about the Les Battersby thing, and he's like saying, if anything's possible, if anything's gonna happen anywhere, it's SovPro kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I need to give them their flowers, because I feel that without SovPro, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be positioned where I am. Again, I feel that, I'm talking about, what was it? Kind of things falling into place at the right time. Just SovPro was a great kind of it was the unfurling, maybe, is the rose, blossoming of the rose that is your modern day Ian Skinner, because it is very different from what I was doing at the time elsewhere in different other companies. But it's the thing that everyone kind of latched onto and enjoyed and kind of got notice on. And again, they gave me my first championship in my entire career with the Commonwealth Championship. Speaking candidly, outside of character, I know I'm kind of flipping in and out. You're getting a little bit of the real Ian Skinner and getting a little bit of story Ian Skinner, but there's a lot of tumultuous things to say, but I can always just say that because of SovPro, is where I am today. It's why I'm speaking to you today. It's why I've got a belt. It's why I've had a match with Leon Slater, who's one of the greatest. We were training with down in New Wave Midlands with a couple of guys when I was still in Scotland. Judas Gray, Ronan King. Rob Stowe, who underrated, Zachary Swift, underrated as well. So those are two names who I think will be popping off. Hopefully more in the UK rather than just in their bubbles in Scotland. They're two guys I'd say to keep an eye out for, Zachary Swift and Rob Stowe. Obviously, Judas Gray and Ronan King already on your radar, and they're breaking out as they as they are just now. But we were training with them, and we were like, oh, you know what? Let's find like an old Leon Slater match. And goddamn, was he was still good. Damn. And I think he must have been like 16 at the time. And I'm like, and we were all there just going, how could he? How could he be so good?
It's crazy. They just, some people, it's just, they've got the gift. But that's the thing, and when I can remember having the conversations on socials, like when I think it was Shotty was like, I was looking for recommendations for breakout stars, and a lot of the SovPro people were like, he's Skinner, and you replied back being like, oh no, don't use me. I've been out injured for most of the year, and it was like,
oh yeah, 2023 sucked for me. Honestly, I broke my hand in June, and then like I probably only had like 2 or 3 matches back, like from September to October, and then I had a surgery. I'm fine, by the way, but like in December, immediately before moving, so like yeah, I'm surprised how it is. But again, like another thing, like is like putting over the company, but then again the fans, really strong connection with the fans. Yeah, as much as I hate them for the most part, because they're just simps. But because they're simps, that's why things come just so hey, this guy right over here. But it is what it is. Yeah, but you're saying like they've got a great community there, and it's great to see that community because people come to shows, people talk about like it was like their first show, like going on their own, and they've like met friends. I'd say like friends for lifetimes. You would know because you've got like wrestling group friends you probably met at a show and like just started hitting it off, and now they're your network of people.
You'd think so. If I've had Jamie go, sometimes I'll just have my headphones on and I'll just be listening to music and watching the show. Sometimes I can do either though. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to have that network of friends, talking to people. But sometimes as well, I just like to, I'm quite happy just zoning out and watching the wrestling and listening to music as well. So sure. You can do both. But then, that's the thing, like for me, that's British wrestling at the minute. Like I sort of said, obviously, how we're always at Tidal, and I think somewhere like the Parish, that's such a close knit community as well. It's such a venue. You get it at True Grit, and obviously, I mentioned Newcastle before. You kind of we talked about Scotland and Newcastle. I know you've worked for wrestling in Newcastle, which again is another promotion who I just think are doing amazing things, and you're involved in that. You're there.
Yeah, of course. I remember going to one of their first show because they had Dean Allmark is doing a seminar, and Dean Allmark, learning from Dean Allmark. Oh yeah, that if I'm going to talk about like a bucket list, especially now he's had his like I don't know, he's had like stem cells, like he's coming back super powered, super jacked now, Dean Allmark. So I'm excited about like the prospect of a Dean Allmark match. That's been one that's been kicking around my brain for a while. He also stole my fridge, so there's a law. There's a law there. There's a YouTube video I need to show you from like a couple of years. He stole my fridge and he's not returned it. And listen, I don't want a match. I just want my fridge back. That's the long and short of it.
A match for the custody of Skinner's fridge.
Exactly.
Was it a Smeg fridge?
It was a little mini fridge, right? Full of Diet Coke. Listen, I'm over Diet Coke at this point, right? It was a commodity. I don't care about it anymore. If you listen to the promo at that promo, I hate promo. It's a talking segment. If you listen to the talking segment at SovPro, Bad to the Bone, you'll understand Diet Coke and what it means. There's law there, and I hated that everyone was like, oh, he just loves Diet Coke. I don't. I commodify Diet Coke. I objectify Diet Coke. But yeah, there was Diet Coke, there was White Monster, and there was like a steak in there. I don't know if the steak was mine, but everything else and the fridge was mine.
By default, it was in the fridge. It was yours, possession.
The fridge was physically mine as well, but he just posted a picture of it. He's like, oh, look at this fridge I got. And my name's on it. My name's on that fridge.
That for me is a match. There's got to be at some point. And any promoter out there, please, we need a match for this. We've seen people fight for less. We just The man had his fridge taken. Give him a match against Dean Allmark as well, for God's sake. You know, that would be I'd buy a ticket to watch it like that.
I'd buy a fridge for that. That's what I'd
buy that for $1. But
nice.
Got me thinking about RoboCop film. That's what I do. But yes, obviously wrestling in Newcastle.
Shout out to my man RoboCop.
There's him and Sting.
Just cutting you off. I just need to, pour one out for the homies.
Acknowledge him. But yeah, like I say, I've totally lost my train of thought now. Dude,
I don't. Acknowledge RoboCop. That's
I've got 20 seconds.
Justice for Alex Murphy. Let's go.
yeah. I've got 20 seconds to comply, to get it back together. Let's do this. But yeah, I mean, obviously, your radius of shows is, like I say, you're working Newcastle, Scotland, Manchester, Yorkshire. We've talked about it before.
I'm in Weymouth this Friday. I don't know if you know where Weymouth is, but you can see the sea. It's the bottom of the UK. It's not my first time working there either, but oh my God. Pure Rules versus Jay Joshua, and that's free on YouTube. I'm sorry if you've not watched it. Not you specifically, but people watching this. If you've not watched Ian Skinner versus Jay Joshua for free on YouTube, what are you doing with your time? We had people going, because when you do Pure Rules, some people are like, some people can't get it. Everyone was like, why don't we do more Pure Rules matches down at UPW? Shout out UPW down in Weymouth. I don't know how to say it. It's not shocked. It's not flabbergasted, but it's like I'm honored. That's probably the way that I'm honored that they see such value in kind of what we bring to the table to bring us down from where we are. That's hands down. I'm so grateful for opportunities like that.
That's a massive radius, because obviously, I'm talking to people, I'm looking like getting booked here, looking. So I'd like to see, when I speak to people, I like to see the radius is expanding. The more the names getting out there, the more recognition they're getting. But yeah, man, that's way down south. That is pretty much, you've got the whole country sort of covered. It's been skinned. Soon.
If people want it, they want it. But I love what we do, and I love what I do on top of what we do. So if people enjoy that, and if people want that, then hell yeah, let's have fun, let's entertain together.
How do you find because for me, from reading loads of wrestling books and things like that, obviously the car trips are part of the whole wrestling mythology. It's part of the journey, it's part of the experience of being a wrestler. Some people love them, some people hate them, some people just love getting in the car with the mates and driving for hours. Other people are just like, nah, not having it, I'm just staying here. Are you a fan of the car journeys? Do you kind of enjoy that time?
So I feel that this question is more for the people who are in the car with me than it is for if I enjoy it, because I'll find a way to enjoy anything. It's all about if other people enjoy that company as well. I've been part of a weird, tumultuous set of cars, and there will be future cars to come in a very similar fashion. But for the time being, I'd say it's more on the other people if they enjoy the conversation that I bring.
You're going to enjoy it regardless whether anybody else does. You're quite happy. Yeah,
I can also be happy. I can be happy in silence as well. But just know, when you open the can, you can't close the can.
Pandora's box.
Exactly that.
Because again, I'd say it's just that kind of sort of the side of the stuff that I love. I remember I was hearing Tim Strange, hearing stories about Tim Strange and Lou Nixon singing Miley Cyrus songs in the car.
Man, I tell you what, I really miss. It's a training thing. I really miss week in, week out going to training, because we used to drive to training with Joe Henry, and I'd drive with Rob Stowe and Monstrum, and we had a journey down to Wrestle Carnival for a seminar with Axel Tischer one time. I feel like that's what cemented it, and then we went on holiday together. They're my if I was gonna have two, I know there's other people in the training school, but we were the car. Yeah, they were just my guys. And it was just like listening to music, listening to new songs, watching quotation marks, but listening to Kill Tony podcast and just riffing, talking through our stuff, like talking through our lives, like bonded with him so much. Like, again, like that's the sincere answer of like, if I could go anywhere in the UK and it was a drive, I'd love to do it with them. Because I'm not driving at the moment. I'm not driving. I don't know how Monstrum would respond to it because he'd be doing all the driving. But yeah, that's the dream. That's the dream drive. Then
that'd be awesome. But yeah, man, I just think that's another thing I was going to mention at some point. So I've just noticed the time, but I did want to mention Wrestle Carnival because again, that's, you know, I know you was having pure matches there, and that's very much, like I said, you kind of got that pure background, that pure style down. You know, I think some people, again, it depends how much of you people have seen or where they've seen you, you know, do your thing. Whereas I think that can be surprising sometimes to some people. They're like, oh shit, you know, the dude is, you know, you've got this pure thing down. You know, you are of a crazy high standard when it comes to the pure style.
Yeah, I think right now it's this is, again, behind the curtain. This is a bit of inside baseball chat, but I think, yeah, it's where people see me and kind of like where it all, you know, what side of things I'm presenting that day. Oh man, is he hungry? Does he want to go outside? Is it food time or is it night time? I usually get shouted at by my cat when it's past 10:30 or 11 o'clock. They start screaming of like, okay, it's bedtime now. I want my bedtime biscuits and I want you to turn off all the lights and go upstairs. Oh, look at that. Look at that human man right there. I
think you just want some attention.
Yeah.
It's a big softy.
But yeah, it's I feel that, yeah, I feel like I'm maybe like a Swiss Army knife. I'm a multi-tool. Well, not in all facets. I wouldn't say like there are aspects that I do have. There's aspects I don't have. But I feel that what I do offer, I think I can provide in a great sum. Obviously, I'm in the Pure Grit lead for that style as well. But sometimes people just want to see me troll people and like do my little meme thing, and that's fine. I can understand that. So I feel like right now it's a little spectrum. Maybe it's something that we need to condense down. Maybe it depends. You know, guys like Santino, like Santino's original character wasn't what Santino is and what we know Santino for. You know, if you look at his OVW stuff, the same with like, you know, Nick Dinsmore. You know, like there's these people out there who can do so many things, but people just want to see them do the thing that people that they enjoy. Like sometimes sometimes it's not silly. Sometimes it's just like a very special niche. You know, I'd be lucky to fall into the category of like a Kurt Angle where I could do both, but I don't have that legacy, nor do I have kind of like that background. Like I'm gonna throw my hands up and say I cannot go on the mat like Kurt Angle. But here's one for you, and I promised I wasn't gonna put him over, but someone who I think fits into the category and almost like falls really well into this is Joe Hendry. A guy who has been to the Commonwealth Games. He's like a black belt in judo, has like X amount of like Greco-Roman like wrestling medals, like trains his guys in this shoot style wrestling, this Greco-Roman wrestling. But was he in the pure division of Ring of Honor? Like, and in TNA and NXT right now, what's the thing that got him his credibility?
Character.
Zoolander. Zoolander and a great song.
That's the thing that is crazy. That's what amazes me with sort of the world of wrestling. Like you sort of said, you know, you could be, you know, I'd say without his personality, without his charisma, Kurt Angle was a great amateur wrestler, but that's not what got him over with the fans. It wasn't his wrestling that got him over with the fans. It was the charisma. It was like, it's crazy, like how you could be so good at something, but if you don't have that connection with the fans, if you don't have that sort of chemistry, you're not getting anywhere. it's mind blowing.
Yeah, or you can just be dead sick and people will enjoy it as well. It's a sliding scale. Like it just happens. I don't think there's a real like. You can't put your finger on it, and I don't think there's a real right answer. Just some things some things hit, some things don't hit. But
you couldn't write a formula, you couldn't bottle it because everybody's different. It's capturing a moment or a time or an environment or an atmosphere or nostalgia. It's just certain things like best, I don't know, ECW. If somebody tried to do ECW now, it wouldn't work, but it fit that mid-90s mindset so perfectly, that atmosphere at the time. And it became something within itself and it grew. But you couldn't replicate that. You can't do that again because it was a time and a place. So that's what I mean. You can't do that. Talking to the pure stuff, though, I do want to just shout out this Saturday you're in York at True Grit against one Mr. Ellis Barker.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick his head in. I'm gonna show people how easy it is to knock someone out. Because I said it in my video. Like, play by whatever rules you want, because I see that just people will play by their own rules. So I'll play by my rules.
Dude, I'm becoming very aware of the time. I said I'd keep you for about an hour, dude, so I've taken you well over. So any more random movie questions you want to throw at me before we...
Well, it's more that shout out to Stand Up on the Spot. You seen the on Netflix Dr. Phil interviewing Dr. Phil? Great thing. Dr. Phil, Adam Ray's Dr. Phil, excellent. This is most times where people would plug their merch, but I'm just plugging niche things you can watch on YouTube. Rick Glassman's podcast is great. Take Off Your Shoes. Call of Duty Zombies is back. That's sick. Back in the day, man. So, Call of Duty Zombies? Yes? No?
I don't do first person. No, I don't like first person.
That's fine. That's fine then. But if you're watching this, I need to know what's your favorite map. You can put a poll out. You can put a poll out. Drop it in the comments. Hey guys, drop it in the comments below. What's your favorite Call of Duty Nazi Zombies map?
You'll find out.
But yeah, I've no other niche movie questions. Unless, let me just look at my Letterboxd. Yeah, follow my Letterboxd. It's been a while since I've seen a film. But my Letterboxd. What's my top 5 on Letterboxd? I'm sure I had to change it. Oh yeah, so it's Starship Troopers, Starship Troopers, Gold Member, The Suicide Squad, which is the second one, and Godzilla, King of Monsters. Oh damn, it's like a portrait. Every frame is a portrait, and you got O'Shea Jackson just there because he is.
Yep. That's 4 though, isn't it? What's the 5th one?
All right, Godzilla King of Monsters is technically 2.
Of course,
So you got Godzilla 2012 or 2014 with Bryan Cranston and Aaron Taylor Johnson, kick-ass. Again, throwbacks. We're doing throwbacks within the episode.
Yes.
It's at its worst, it's a -2. At its best, it's 11 out of 10. Then King of Monsters is the second one, and we just throw the formula out of whack because that's when we've got 11s there. And we've got the last from The Conjuring, Vera Farmiga.
In Eric Northman in it from True Blood as well.
Yes. And Charles Dance from Dracula.
There we go.
Charles
Steve.
Dance begin the project. Charles Dance is it, and then in the third, that's when we have then you've got Kong Skull Island in between, and then you've got Godzilla versus Kong, and you got Godzilla X Kong New Empire, or as I call it, Godzilla Twitter Kong. New choice. New choice.
But yeah, no, I can't argue those. That's a good list. So the Gold Member, I'm not gonna. We'll get to this at another point, I'm sure.
Okay, so here's my version of it. Okay, Austin Powers is your vanilla ice cream. It's perfect. It follows a nice structure. Nice. It's Rock Austin. Great story. like all the way through, brilliant. 10 out of 10. Gold members PWG. It's just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. And it doesn't matter. The flow doesn't matter, but everything is just very exciting and very enjoyable.
Best way to put it. Yeah, I think the thing is though, I do like films like that sometimes where you just don't. The story takes a back foot, and like I say, it's just spot. Some of the best comedies are like that. You just kind of like, yeah, you know what? But they're the quotable
Scary
ones
Movie.
as well. They're the ones. What's that?
Scary Movie, for example.
Yeah,
Scary Movie.
yeah.
Like it's just Scream, and also what I know what you did last summer, but like it is just like bar after bar after bar after bar.
It's like the Naked Guns, the aeroplanes, the Don't Be a Menace to Society in the hood whilst drinking juice. It's all those kind of spoofy films, isn't it, where you just like, yeah, bosh.
Yeah, you can't go 5 seconds without a gag.
Yeah, but it's the idea of we're going to throw so much stuff at the wall, even if you laugh at half of it, you'll still end up laughing like 40 times. So it's a success.
And maybe I think like to kind of like bring this to like a little bit of a head and like wrap things up. Maybe it's a side tangent story, but I feel that it's something that maybe it falls into a category. Maybe you can pull some meaning out of it into this podcast or this story. But I don't know if you ever heard about when Leslie Nielsen was actually cast for Police Squad. The precursor of Naked Gun is that he was like offered this role, and he was like, "Well, I'm not a comedic actor. I don't want to like this isn't part of my shtick." And they're like, no, we want you not as a comedian. We want you to play it straight. And he's like, okay, I'll take it. And when he came on, they were like, just play it straight, play this straight, play authentic to the scene, to the role. And that's what made him so great. And sometimes he'd line read and do different takes, and they'd be like, you're finding the comedy in it. Play the authenticity of it. And yeah, maybe you can find something in that in regards to like what is Ian Skinner as a character? Is he Leslie Nielsen? Maybe not. I don't think I'm that good. But maybe there's something there. I only bring up that story because I heard it on a podcast that I listened to this week. Rick Glassman, Take You Off Your Shoes, with Glenn Howerton. Great episode.
Is Ian Skinner spoofing us, or when you're playing up the are you turning up to 11 just to give us a false sense of security? Who knows? But no, dude, it's been awesome. I've totally lost track of time. Totally lost track of what I was going to say at random points as well. So thank you for that. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Plug your socials, let people know where they can see the video packages.
Yeah, at Ian Skinner PW on Instagram, on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. On Letterboxd as well. On Etsy. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can follow my Google Plus account. I've got a YouTube. I've got some clips. They're old clips because I don't want to annoy the promoters that I've got match footage from. Search out where I wrestle and get the match footage from there. What else? I've got a Facebook page if people still use Facebook if you wanna. But I feel like my main go-tos are Twitter and Instagram. You also Blue Sky if you want. I know some people are on Blue Sky there because they don't want right-wing propaganda like in their face anymore. Listen, I find the joy in it sometimes. I don't know why I dropped that in there. Or maybe that's, hey, who knows? Maybe Ian Skinner's a right-wing podcaster in his spare time. You'll never know.
Keep him guessing.
Weird. Delete that. No, keep it in. Keep it in. Assert dominance. I'm keeping it in. I'm keeping it in. Not. I know you're editing it, but I'm keeping it in. Just so I'm in control. I'm controlling my narrative right now. There's also threads as well. But if you follow my Instagram, you'll probably follow my threads as well. What other social medias are there? I've got a Big Cartel if you want t-shirts. Damn. Is there anything else? What other apps? So I do Crossword Jam Plus. You can get that on Apple Arcade. I don't know if you can follow me on that, but I've got a really good score. The Invincible game. My Duolingo streak is at 988 days. I've been doing just like some of the easier ones just to make sure that the days rack up. So you can follow me on there. I don't have a Slack channel. I'm on Discord. I'm on some Discords. If you can find me, don't add me. Just post a picture of a Shiba Inu, and I will find you. Trainline, where I buy my train tickets. This bit's going on way too long. TikTok, that's it. I feel like I've been missing TikTok. Yeah, so Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky. I don't have an Etsy store. I don't have a LinkedIn, but there you go. And buy merch if you want. If not, see me at a show. Take a picture if you want. Listen, ask, tweet Shorty Horror. Tell them to get my theme song put on Spotify.
Yes, awesome shout. We will get that going on the socials. I kind of feel like it's short and sweet here, but obviously you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. That's us really. You know, we're not very sociable. We've only got 3 accounts, so you can hit us up on there. If you on Instagram, it's my boy Ash who does all that. Feel free to say hi to him and talk about death metal or anything you want to.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, do you?
Real good. Yeah, he's put me on some real good stuff. I can't pronounce the name of the band, but it's great.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it when people talk. You know, I didn't even know you like that was the thing. So that's awesome. That makes me smile.
You don't know that I like death metal, or you didn't know that I didn't message the Instagram because
I
got a story for you.
I didn't know that you were an Ash talks music, so that's cool.
Nah, yeah. Here's a picture of Joe Biden.
Nice. But yeah, obviously hit like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the stuff, you know, that we ask you to do at the end of every episode. Thank you for watching. And myself and Ash, Speak of the Devil, will be back later in the week as we do a Tidal Lost in the Parish review show. So no doubt, obviously, Mr. Skinner here will be discussed and praised and hyped again. So it is officially the week of Mr. Ian Skinner on Work the Left Side.
Me.
Thank you for watching, and remember, always work the left side. Goodbye.
Sandy Beaches does a great Borat impression.